5 for the Brewery Underground Podcast.
In Nashville's harbor wise, cracked and bruised when we've disguised. Stephen Scott, they lead the way. Brewery Underground, night and day. Raise your glass, let's ignite. In this city, we unite. Raise your glass, let's ignite. In this city, we unite.
Well, hey, everybody. Look who is back on the Brewery Underground Podcast.
Look at him. Don't use it's just great to see his face again. Yeah, you.
Yes, who
Me.
is that?
It's Michael Williams.
Yay, it's Michael Williams
up,
from Great
friends?
Lakes
Great Lakes.
in Cleveland,
Yeah,
Ohio.
Cleveland, Ohio. Yep. It's great to be hanging out with the number one Great Lakes beer fans in
Yes.
Tennessee.
We are number
Yeah.
one. We are your
All of us-
number one fan. Yes.
That's right. All three of us are the number one fans.
Yeah. We can claim that. Yeah, we can divide it up. That's fine. I'm completely cool with that.
Awesome. Yeah, man. Thanks for being back on with us. It's been almost a year, as we were just talking about.
Yeah. October last year. So
Yep. You were episode 47 and 48. We had so much
I love it.
content, we had to make it 2 parts.
what are we what's the episode count up to?
This will be, we released 91 comes out tomorrow. I don't know if this will be, what will
Getting
this be,
close to
92 or 93. I don't know what order this is going to fall.
Yeah, I
It's-
think so.
Close to 100.
Getting,
Yes,
we're getting there.
guys.
We
Yeah,
are,
we're real close.
We
That's
are
beautiful.
inching. That's right. We are inching towards 100.
Yeah.
But Michael, we have to give you a proper introduction for people that
Yes.
if they hadn't listened to our podcast with you about a year ago. You are all things at Great Lakes Brewing in Cleveland, Ohio. You are just tell us what you are. You have a lot of different titles.
I
there.
do a lot of some of the things. Yeah. Don't ask
And
me
your
to
role has
touch
changed a little bit, too.
Don't ask me to touch any stainless steel, you know what I mean? But like other
Right.
than that, so I'm a total sham because of that. So I've been at Great Lakes for those of you who didn't listen to the first episodes, which you should tune in.
Tune in.
Give
Shame
you
on
some
them.
context for this one. Pause this episode and go back to episodes 47 and 48.
Exactly.
And if you're not following the podcast already, then redo it, right? So hit that follow button. So I've been at Great Lakes. My 13th anniversary is 2 weeks from now, which is great. Starting the pub, did, brewery tours for a little bit, moved into marketing, became our kind of lead trainer at the company. COVID hit, and we couldn't do stuff in person, so I had picked up a lot of desk stuff, did some communications and all that. But since last time we talked, actually it was shortly after the last episode we recorded, the team presented me with a nice opportunity to restore a sampling team, basically. So we call it brand development, and it's basically like there's all the work we do further upstream, like in the sales and marketing world, but like one of the most effective ways to get the individual person to buy a Great Lakes beer is to have them taste it, right? So I'm out there with a couple reps doing samplings all throughout Cleveland, Ohio to get people, especially because as we talked about a little bit about last time, and we'll definitely talk about a little bit more about this time, we do have a lot of new stuff at Great Lakes. People know us for the classics, your Dortmunder Golds and Edmund Fitzgerald's and Christmas ales and stuff. We have a lot of exciting new beers too. And that's really the focus for my work over the past year has been making people more aware of those newer beers. But I still do some education stuff. They did not take away the advanced Cicerone certification or anything like that, because I sold out and went to the more salesy side or whatever. No, that certification can be very impactful out in the field a little bit more too. Beer dinners and things like that are a little bit more fun when you can share that level of knowledge with people.
In this new role, you're getting them to taste it. Are you tasting it along with them? Not that you don't know what it tastes like, but
So, you can do that, but I really don't. By the way, I had to pop open a beer. I know you guys are Vibacious fans.
Oh,
the big,
yes,
you got the
sir.
juicy. You got
So
the
this is
juicy.
this is the blood orange.
Man.
I don't know if you guys saw anything about that, but it's there we go. I got the Hop College glass. I forget which glass I used last time, but still repping some of the education stuff there. Right?
Nice. Love it.
So, and I'll talk about the blood orange in a second, but I don't sample it with people. There's just enough beer drinking that happens everywhere else, honestly. I just, I'm at a grocery store at 4 p.m. It's like, I know. Yeah.
Yeah, you've
But
had
there's
your
a-
fair share already.
There's a fun little after, but yeah, there's a little ritual that I've made for myself, like after a sampling, especially if it was a good one. Usually, like, so we'll be sampling, like, and you guys have seen this in stores. I'm sure they do it in Tennessee, right?
Oh,
There
yeah.
hasn't been as much of it since COVID, but it's a thing that still, I'm sure, happens. And like, I'll be sampling like 3 things, and you get towards the end of the sampling, it's like, okay, someone wanted to try a Midwest IPA, which we talked about last time. And I pop it and I pour 1 3-ounce sample, and it's like, well, I've still got 9 ounces left. And like, that's what I enjoy at the end of, especially if it was we sold like 5+ cases of beer or whatever, something like
Yeah.
that.
Well, Michael, I have to tell you, there was last year on Untapped, there was one beer that I rated a 5.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Which
And
was?
I had not rated it a 5 the first time I had it. I rated it about a 4.5, 5. But I had it a second time. It was on December the 18th of last year, and I rated a 5 after the second time having it. The Juicy Vibacious Double IPA.
There we go. I had
The
a feeling it was
only-
going to be the juicy vibe, yeah.
Only beer that I rated a 5 last year
That's
on Untapped.
That's an honor.
Yeah.
We appreciate it, yeah. It's a
Well,
good beer.
Yeah. And you had a beer there, and you gave us some beer when we saw you in mid-May. So here's what I'm drinking. I saved this for this podcast.
There we go. Nice.
Oh, baby.
Beautiful.
Yes. Yep. And
Chef's
I'm
kiss.
actually and I'm actually drinking it in my vivacious glass here.
Look at
So-
you, suck up.
I know. Well,
Hey, Scott,
Hey,
I saw the
you
Midwest
You
glass.
suck
okay?
up.
Yeah, I saw the Midwest glass. Yeah.
yeah,
No,
this
I'm
is
drinking one. Oh, go ahead, Steve.
no, I was gonna say it's my first time having this, and I think it's go big or go home night on the podcast. So.
Yeah, you
And
save
I'm
it for
home,
special
so I can
occasion.
go big.
I'm home.
This is
This
the
is my
occasion to
home.
drink something
That's
like
my home
that.
library. Yep.
That's right.
Well, and I actually had to borrow this from Steve because I've got some of his Great Lakes beer in my fridge because I drank all of mine. So I asked him if I could borrow one. But I did get the strawberry pineapple wheat,
Okay.
which is
Some are
really good.
still- Yeah.
And then I do
And the-
have my Great Lakes
The Midwest glass.
IPA glass.
Love it.
Yes,
Yeah.
very lovely.
I'm sure you guys have extremely summer-like weather down there still, right?
Still up in the 90s. I do have the one that glass.
Yeah,
too.
we're
I think
at,
I was
like,
at
Like, nice.
About 90
mid-
today here.
yeah, we're mid-70s here, so it's like you can still drink a strawberry pineapple wheat and have it be like, yeah, this makes
Yeah.
sense. You know?
Yeah, still good. It still
But
fits
the cliff-
the season.
The cliff's coming though. It's coming. Yeah.
We've had a taste of it. We've had some cool weather, and it's cool in the mornings and the evenings, but it's gotten
Exactly.
back up hot again.
Yeah. This is kind of the
During the
idea.
day.
But
And
Yeah.
I'm inside in air conditioning, so who cares that I'm drinking a porter? I mean,
oh, 100%. I mean, I drink that whenever. Yeah.
yeah, who cares? Who
Dude,
cares?
barrel
Yeah.
aged beers, you don't have to drink those seasonally anymore. Forget about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
Well, while it's
Bit-
fresh and we're talking about beer, that blood orange, tell us some about that. 'cause
Yeah.
I don't think we saw that while we were there.
Aha. Gotcha. No, this just came out. So we're doing something as a beer nerd I'm excited about, and also just from business standpoint and all that kind of thing. We're starting to do a little bit more in terms of like limited releases that we didn't do a lot of before, because like we may have talked about this last time, and if you have other more regional brewers on the pod, like it's kind of more about the amount you brew of focused beers, right? Whereas like it's the smaller places that can do all these little one-off things, but like craft people you guys love it, I love it when you can try it's the new variant of X beer that I already love or whatever. So we added this Vibacious, we call it the Double Trouble pack, which it's a 6-pack. It's got 2 of regular Vibacious, it's got 2 of Juicy Vibacious, and then it's got 2 of this new Blood Orange Vibacious.
Mm.
Man.
Which is only available in the pack, of course. So you got to get the pack to try it. I love what they did with the little slices and stuff like that.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
cute, right? Yep.
Yeah.
So we're doing a little bit more of that. Like I forget if last time if we talked about like there's the Hot Madness IPA variety pack that's got a limited. It's got Midwest IPA, the Hazy Midwest. It's got one of the 2 regular Vibaciouses, and then it's got like a rotating small batch IPA that's only available within that pack. So like we're starting to dabble a little bit more in stuff like that. And then, again, I know you guys are Vibacious fans, first of all.
Big time.
And then
Yeah.
knowing you guys are nerdy like me, I wanted to kind of start with the Blood Orange, just to show like we are doing some of that cool stuff. you guys know, speaking of the barrel-aged beers, so of course you guys know barrel-aged blackout stout, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mhm.
So give me 1 second because I'm pretty sure we already announced this, but oh my goodness, it's on the
We'll
website
rush this
already.
out
It's on the
tomorrow.
website. Who cares? I know it's on the
Okay.
website already. We're doing a mocha variant of barrel-aged blackout stout that's going to be coming out along with the regular release, which will be sometime in November. So like we're flexing that creativity, doing some fun limited stuff. I was actually there with the sales guys. My good buddy Jacob, who's also an advanced disround. He's the other one of two at Great Lakes. He does all our flavor development for these kind of products. And it was actually a pretty fun session earlier this year where like we were trying to figure out, we knew we wanted it to be mocha, but then like you say mocha and what does that actually mean, right? With regards to the flavor expression. So me and the Northeast Ohio sales guys were like up in the brewery tasting room. You guys remember the tour and there's that tasting room up there?
Mhm.
Oh no, we didn't go across the street, but there's this brewery
No, across the
tasting
street,
room
yeah.
up there. And we basically responsibly, of course, tried 10 little like 1 or 2 ounce samples of barrel-aged blackout stout with varying levels of like vanilla and chocolate and coffee to like dial in the mocha flavor, which was like, this is cool. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
so we're doing all that kind of stuff, which is exciting, certainly for me, and I think for a lot of the craft beer fans out there.
Yeah, I mean, this got to be a great part of the job. Holy cow!
It's fun, yeah. Well, and it's just to be able to provide exciting stuff. We love our classics, but to be able to do fun new stuff is really important, right? You guys know that from talking with everybody else.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
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 Well, and again, when you gave us some beer, thank you for all the beer you gave us when
welcome.
we saw you
Yeah,
in mid-May.
thank you.
One of the ones you gave us was the barrel-aged blackout stout, and I had that
Yeah,
in June, and really ranked that pretty high too. Love that one.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
you like the mocha? We'll get
Yep.
you the mocha. Yeah.
We'll have to try it. Yeah, and
Like
that other one you were
love
just
the
talking
mocha.
about.
Told
The yeah.
Told you guys via email, but I totally dropped the ball and didn't send any beer. So I owe you.
That's
I'm gonna send you
okay.
guys a Christmas present.
That would be lovely.
And we appreciate
we
it.
will
Well, and that's why I
absolutely
kept
accept that.
this. That's why I
Yeah.
kept this for the podcast.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, something else you gave us too, and let's talk about this beer because this is new since you were on last. You gave us a case of the Cold Rush Premium Light,
Indeed.
and my
Yeah.
God, is that good? And I'm not just
It's,
saying just for a light
look at
beer.
that.
Yes,
Yeah.
and you could only get that in. I know you can only get it in Ohio. Was that correct, or was it just
Yeah,
Cleveland?
right now it's just a Northern Ohio beer. So, of
Okay.
course, you guys know very well, unfortunately, we're not in Tennessee right now. But Cold Rush in particular is even more limited for us because typically, like, we're in 17 states now, 17 states in DC. And typically, we make basically more or less all of our product line available to all the states that we have distribution in. So, but Cold Rush is a little unique so this whole light lager thing, have you guys talked about the light lager thing with other brewers and people like down in Tennessee? Like, are
Yeah.
people doing it down there?
A little bit, yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people. I think we've talked about how loggers have changed the game more. I mean, that's becoming more of a trend.
Yeah, Nashville Brewing
Absolutely.
Company here in Nashville, who is within Blackstone's building, won gold at Great American Beer Fest for their light lager
Oh, that's beautiful.
last year. So yeah,
Big time. Yeah. Ooh, I would love to have that. We want to, this beer actually, Cold Rush did, for anyone who's listening from Northeast Ohio, Cold Rush, we have this. So, I mean, a lot of cities have Oktoberfest celebrations. I think ours in Cleveland's pretty big. It won USA Today's 10 best, like that one of those polls. It won best Oktoberfest a couple of years back. So it's a big enough deal. And they do the Friday, so it's 2 weekends. It's Labor Day weekend and the following weekend. So the Friday, the first day of the Oktoberfest, we do a competition where a bunch of like local home brewers and like BJCP certified judges will taste various beers that Cleveland brewers submit and stuff. And Cold Rush actually won. Now, it's not a goal at GABF, but Cold Rush won. There's a bunch of different categories. Obviously, a lot of the categories focus on German because it's an Oktoberfest, but then there's IPA and then the open category, which is all the other stuff. And Cold Rush won gold in the open category. Then what they do is they pit the best scoring German beer against the best scoring non-German beer. And Cold Rush actually won best scoring non-German beer.
Oh
Nice.
wow!
Look at that.
Great.
It
Yeah.
unfortunately came in second place overall. one of our good friends who used to work for us at Great Lakes, he won gold for his Oktoberfest. But we were pumped that Cold Rush won basically runner-up best in show for this, like, a not insignificant event here in Cleveland. So again, it's not a GABF gold medal.
Yeah, that's okay.
But I think to your original point, though, that talks about that light lager category, how good that has become kind of everywhere. It's really a big deal. It's a good style, and they're delicious.
Yeah. So the whole irony, guys, right, is what was craft beer founded not to be, right? Was that.
Yeah.
But as always, I think a big theme for me, and I'm sure we talked about last time, like creativity is like, it's part of who we are as craft brewers and craft beer fans and stuff. It's like creativity and new, even if it's a new expression of an old thing, right? That's what craft beer started as. It's like Americans reinterpreting European styles. Okay, well, now it's 2025 and, people are drinking a little bit less beer overall and weaving in other products and things like that. And also, last time I checked, the number one beer style in the world was still light beer. So why not make a locally brewed, slightly better tasting light beer? That's part of the reason this is not an idea that's unique to us. Other brewers are doing it, but we all seem to be for now focusing on. It's kind of like each city's major brewers, like, hey, this is Cleveland's light beer or whatever the city might be. So you could drink, if you want to drink the light beer from the macro brewery that's actually headquartered in another country, that's fine. Like, we're not knocking anything, but like, we still think there's enough local pride for beer generally. And then, of course, there's a little bit of the flavor factor. It is 4%. It's 100 calories. And you guys have had it. How would you say it compares to like one of the big guys' light beers? I'll ask
when you say big, like the national, international brands. Oh, it's better than those.
Oh, it is better. Yeah.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it is better. And I think if you're talking like a lot of the domestics that we all grew up on, I think brewers like yourself have capitalized on these light lagers and are making them better.
Yeah.
And to follow up on that too, to me, it seems like it's indicative of you guys knowing where the marketplace is heading, and you're not saying, okay, we're going to not do our core beers anymore. You're adding it to the menu to bring more people in and to expand what you're doing.
Yep. And just I have a lot of show and tell this time.
This
is the new variety.
Love this. I love this.
The new variety pack.
Yeah.
We went with a kind of crazy design earlier in the year for the variety pack, and then we include some beer. Actually, the strawberry pineapple wheat was in there, but we found that it was kind of a lot. This new variety pack, you guys saw, it was up on the screen for a second. It's got the classics, right? We haven't stopped making Dortmunder. We haven't stopped making Eddie Fitz. But we also want people to try the new stuff like Cold Rush. I mean, Midwest IPAs. So this new pack right here, for those who are watching and you're in one of our markets, this new configuration of the variety pack starting to roll out right now. So like I like it enough that I paid for that.
There you go.
So yeah, I'm excited about the new variety pack. And like, for a lot of people who buy craft beer, they buy the variety pack because they want a mix of things to take to a party or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's, Steve, as you were saying, it's really important that we have, while seeing where things are going, maintaining our base, our history, our heritage, because there are still so many people who enjoy those beers too. So,
and you're experimenting both ways. You're doing a mocha stout over here, and you're doing a light lager over here. You're still expanding and still experimenting and still have a variety outside of the core stuff, which is great to see. You haven't forgotten your base.
Yep,
we're gonna do these other things too and have some fun with it.
Mm-hmm, totally. I know the spectrum from mocha barrel-aged imperial stout to light lager is just like, woo!
But look, you're doing them both, not just both. You're doing them all well, which is a good sign,
important. Quality is always number one, right?
And you got a variety out there for everybody now, right? I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, and like I'm not gonna sing the sad song of people aren't drinking beer anymore and stuff, but like
right,
we have to be a little bit more inventive and stuff for capturing people's interest and stuff. So. Yeah. Why not make the light beer? And like, let's be real. Everyone in the industry drinks light beer. Everyone everywhere drinks light beer at some point,
Yes.
I mean, I don't that often. You guys probably don't that often, but on a large scale, people are drinking it.
Yeah.
So why not just make a good one? Make a good one. And again, I'm not knocking any of the big brands or anything like that. It's just Like some beers are literally made to be as easy to drink as possible. A Cold Rush is meant to be quite easy while still having a little bit more flavor.
Mhm.
And then just delivering on the other core, people look for 4%, low ABV. They look for the 100 calories. They also look for the price point thing. So for those who are watching this right now and you live in Northern Ohio, it is just $12.99 for the 12-pack too. So
Yeah.
buck a can for craft beer, not bad, right?
That's right. That's
Not at
right.
all.
Yeah.
And you've probably seen this a million times in the tap room. Somebody coming in that never really had craft beer before, not know what to expect, but they come in with a group of people who are. And they're like, hey, have you got anything that's like a Miller Lite? And you're like, you know what? We do. Try this.
Yeah, we do. Finally.
Mhm.
I know it was, when I was a server, it was always like, you want a Dortmunder? Like, it's 6%, It's like, Dortmunder is not a light beer.
Right.
There too, and, for us, Dortmunder is such a big beer for us here at home, you don't really know exactly when you launch a big name brand exactly what's going to happen. But my sense is that the two beers, and just looking at Dortmunder's kind of like our core lager here in Cleveland, right? But Cold Rush is so different at 4%
Sure.
versus almost 6, flavor impact, all that. I'm hoping there's not as much cross, because you don't want to lose a lot. You don't want people to just flip Dortmunder off and put Cold Rush on or whatever.
Right.
So
Even.
there's definitely room to fit that. I think other craft brewers are probably seeing it too, to fit the light beer in without having too much of an effect on the other.
That makes
Well,
sense.
yeah, and something Scott and I have talked about over time, pre-COVID, you could go into breweries and maybe half the board or more would be 7-8% or more beers higher. Now,
Right.
in the last year or two, it's more become, as you talk about, the lighter lagers. Everybody's trying to find that middle ground of family friendly too. But I think you guys have probably always been that way because when we were there in mid-May, it was pretty obvious that your brewery serves everybody. I mean, it's
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's we've got that rotating the double feature series that is high octane. It's Nosferatu season right now, which is actually I had my shifty. I had a shifty I was at the brewery. I had a shifty before I came home for the pod, and had my first draft pour of Nosferatu, and it's like, bitterness still bitterness still has a home in this heart right here. I know everything's gone low IBUs, but give me that bitter boy Nosferatu. But we still have those beers. But yeah, you got to ultimately get to have beers that people can have a number of pints, especially for when your business is mostly, or a portion of your business is mostly stuff that's served right there. Because what's the big difference? I'm sure we probably talked a little bit more about Imperial IPAs last time. It was more in my brain last time, but we're all driving cars. I have to go back to the office. I was just having a conversation with a former coworker where she was like, yeah, they're making us go back 5 days a week. So it's which it is 2025, but
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I know.
I'm torn on that because it's I can do my job at home, but also, I don't know, being with people is nice. That's a whole different topic.
It is. Your office, I know your office isn't necessarily in the middle of the brewery, but your office is at a brewery, which is kind of cool, right? I know
it's
you
awesome.
see it
Yeah.
every day. So, I go to a brick building and there's no beer in it.
It's nice to, yeah. So the way my weeks kind of go today, Wednesday is my office day. So I spent the afternoon at the office, did some whatever I was doing. I get my shipment of merch on Wednesdays. So that's why I go to the office. I went down and grabbed a shifty, and then I saw Pat and Dan, the co-owners, a little fist
Nice.
bump. It's nice. It's nice to have that time there at the heart of things,
Mhm.
as you guys experience yourselves back in May. So
Yeah.
So great.
And we didn't talk about this the first time that we had you on the podcast, but I'm really curious. And you talked about the owners today that were in there, Pat and Dan. What have you learned from them since you've been there 12 years? Is that right? You said?
Yep. Be 13.
What have you
Yep.
learned from them? Because they're like one of the OGs. They started the brewery in 1988.
88. Yep. Well, I think something that still can't be stressed enough about the Conway brothers is the importance of how you treat your people at a business. There's some businesses out there. I don't have any firsthand experience, but I'm not naming it. But not every business is run the way that Pat and Dan run Great Lakes. So the true, genuine concern for their employees as people. And this is my first, for all intents and purposes, this is my first year kind of like running a team where I have 3 people who are executing samplings for me, and like certainly that cultural aspect that Pat and Dan have instilled in Great Lakes for 37 years. We just turned 37 2 weeks ago, 11 days ago on September 6th.
Wow.
So it's so important for having Great Lakes being the place that it is. And like we have people who have been, I forgot if I mentioned it last time, but we have people, 2 of the bartenders have been there for 30 plus years. Our brewmaster and first shift brewer are like 28 years there, and so on. And like, of course, there are other companies where there are long-term employees, but like, I've been at Great Lakes for almost 13 years, and I always joke that like I've only been at Great Lakes for 13 years, right? Because there's so many people who have been there for longer than me.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen if you don't have a great culture. So like, one of the biggest things I've learned from them is that treating people right and all that stuff. And you still got to deliver, right? But there's a way to do that that's building other people up and collaborative and all that stuff. And then there's a not as good way to do it. So that'd be the number one thing, I think.
But their beer knowledge from when they started till now and how that's helped you has got to be also be so instrumental.
Another big thing I would say is their focus on education, which would link a little bit more with what we talked about last time, probably. Not to de-emphasize the educational nature of like doing a sampling at a store and all that. It's quick education on the go. But yes, especially their love of tradition. We've pushed them a little bit more on innovation, if you will. But I guarantee you Pat's favorite beer is still Dortmunder, and Dan's favorite beer is still Commodore Perry. You know what I mean? Which is good.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's good. We can't lose sight of our history and our foundation and stuff. But we've been like, hey, I've heard Pat say stuff about Vibacious before. Like, being like, oh, that's really good. So, like, it's kind of fun to see that happen because, the brothers are, I forgot how in depth we got last time, but their story is classic enough for early craft beer founders where, experienced beer in Europe, really fell in love with it over there because when they were growing up, it was just light beer here pretty much, which again, light beer is great as we've already established. But when it's your only option, that's when you're like, okay, I want something more, Yeah. And they tried the Czech Pilsners and all the other European styles they encountered over there. And then the big difference for them is that they were not brewers. So that's where it's kind of interesting is like when we talk with Pat and Dan a lot, it's more about the experiential side of it, right? The cultural side of it, things like that, as opposed to process, because they weren't brewers. They weren't a Larry Bell or a Ken Grossman or whatever, right? So that's where it's been interesting learning from them because it's more about the appreciator side. And I think that's where a lot of their focus from the beginning on education came from, maybe because they were really learners themselves so much too, something like that, Yeah.
So
and
what
the
you were
culture
just
and the education stuff,
Yeah. So which leads me to my next question, which you kind of touched on. You guys have extreme brand loyalty. You've been around 37 years, obviously. There's extreme brand loyalty. You're looking at 2 people right here. Look, we're both number 1 fans.
We don't even sell beer in Tennessee. I know.
Bring it here. Right? Bring Great Lakes to Tennessee.
Yeah.
But that's
we
obviously
see the
really important to you guys. But we were saving that to the end.
Oh, no. We'll save it for the end.
No, I'm just saying we're going to get to the whole not being a Tennessee thing. No, I'm kidding. But it's important. Brand loyalty is important. Diversifying is important. But how difficult kind of is that and we'll talk about Gen Z for a minute, like to kind of keep the core fans, happy, but then still, kind of, bring the Gen Z people in, if you will.
I'm just saying.
Find that balance.
Yeah.
It's tough.
It's got to be difficult.
It's really tough. Yeah. And like I said, I think we made some, I don't know, I think we've had plenty of attempts, I think, or even just over the past 5 years when we started to really accelerate catching up to newer trends, even for people who have as much experience as we do at Great Lakes, both on the brewing side and on the sales and marketing side. It's not flipping a switch and stuff. It took us time. In our evolution, there's a Great Lakes IPA back in 2019. Great beer. Didn't really choose the right look for it twice. And it kind of did well in Ohio, but not really well in a bunch of other areas. We tried hazy IPA with Hazecraft, tropical IPA. It took a couple tries for us to get to this guy, Midwest, which hopefully I mean, there's a certain amount of, so that's just an example, I think, generally of, we've attempted to appeal to those, which includes Gen Z, those newer drinkers and stuff like that, but it was a process, right? So we're still figuring that out. I think there's a little bit, based on what I read, there's a little bit of overblown. I always love it. So there's a couple. So read an industry publication, and they're like, well, you see certain things in the media.
Yeah.
It's like, Gen Z doesn't drink or whatever. And then I feel like the industry publication's like, you remember how much money you had when you were 22? Yeah. You didn't have anything.
Right.
So yeah, they're not buying as much alcohol because like they're 22.
Yeah. That's a good
Yeah.
point.
No,
That's a good
no, there
perspective
is-
on him.
There's definitely actually there's no doubt a moderation trend happening. That this extreme thing, I don't think it's as much as people blow it up to be. And, there are real economic pressures right now, all sorts of other stuff going on right now that are affecting beer sales and things like that. But this is kind of a long-winded way getting to like, we're trying to figure out for the Gen Z consumer, the younger consumer, is like, I think they still drink beer. They don't drink as much beer as current millennials do, and people who have actual paychecks and stuff like that. But they still drink some beer. Figuring out what exactly they drink, is a little bit of a challenge. There's the alternative products, like THC beverages and things like that. Doesn't Tennessee have an actual structure for the THC stuff? Do you guys know?
I don't really know. They
Not
must
sure.
because it's everywhere.
Yeah, it is
Right.
everywhere.
I mean, everybody's got one. Not everybody's got one. If they don't make it,
Still everywhere
somebody's
here.
got
there's-
one. Yeah.
It's the not illegal world in Ohio right now. So,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's also not regulated.
Yeah, there's some cap on something. I don't quite understand it. There's
Yeah.
some cap, but it's
We're learning
it's
that
available.
whole
Yes.
We're definitely learning that whole thing. I know this is more of it's a brewery podcast, but like, the other brewers you guys are talking to are getting into this too. So that's one thing we're doing. Yeah, we're trying to figure out the beer styles too. And I really think light beer, everyone still drinks light beer because it's easy. It's just from a physiological standpoint, as a human, it's easy, right? It's not bitter. It's not overly intense. So cold rushes for them, obviously, as we talked about last time, Midwest IPA, and then the hazy, Midwest hazy. That's my on deck right there. Lower bitterness is also just generally appealing to humans generally. But then like also trying out some of these other product lines to hopefully capture some of the Gen Z people. Although it's been interesting, even just from this role I have this year being out in the field, I think we all assume like, oh, Gen Z, they want the no more alcohol and they want THC, but it's like, it is not. The number of people buying THC products they're not all 21 to 25 or something like that. It's a wide spectrum.
Right.
So we're dabbling. We have something out of the gift shop right now, up in Cleveland. That's a THC beverage. That's another attempt to try to crack that code. I think something that's important overall, and it's something, it just makes sense to me instinctually, and then certain voices in the industry will say this too, is that like we're humans. We do not change that quickly. It's not like all of a sudden in 2 years, everyone's going to give up drinking alcohol. Like there might be slightly less here and there. So like, I think it's really like delivering beer styles in a slightly different way, which I'm sure we talked about last time. Let's Midwest IPA compared to Commodore Perry, like the way those beers look and taste and all that stuff. I think it's important for all of us to not like lose sight on that overall picture that like people are still going to be drinking beer, but you also need to provide X, Y, and Z for the times that they're not drinking beer.
Yeah, there are a ton of options out there. There's just
Lot
a
of
ton which
options.
just didn't
Yeah.
exist before. So they're like,
Yeah.
if it didn't exist, they'd have to drink something else. Now these things exist, so people are trying these things. Remember Zima back in the day was something like that. Oh, this new drink, everybody's going to Zima, and then that dried up quickly. And then the flavored vodkas, they all, that was a
Yeah.
big deal, and that hurt the bourbon industry. And then people like, nah, we're not going to drink that anymore. So it's just
Exactly.
trendy sometimes.
And it's crazy. Like, it's like every summer there's the canned spirit cocktail, or a couple of years, 5 years ago it was malt based and all that. But like,
Yeah.
it's like every summer it's a new thing, right? So
Yeah.
keeping up with that stuff is like,
Yeah,
woo.
all
right.
It's different.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Scott.
Just real quick, it relates to this. I was at a place last night and I was talking to the beer tender. She's 26, and that actually came up, and I go, are you and your core group of friends drinking less, say, than you did? Or she goes, I don't know where that's coming from, but my friends and I drink quite a bit. So it's not
Right.
us. It's
I think that narrative's a little it's not totally overblown, but it's a little bit overblown. And I think it's everybody, not just like younger groups. Again, I really think that something that's really compelling to me is like, I have a lot more money. I don't have a lot of money. I work in craft beer, but like I have a lot more money. I have a lot more money, and thank you, Pat and Dan, for my paycheck. It's very generous.
Yeah.
But I have a lot more money. I'm 38. I have a lot more money than I did when I was 22. You know,
Yep,
totally.
there you go.
Yep.
I still spend it on craft beer though.
Well, of course, you bought a case that's right next to you.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to talk about the Midwest IPA because it was funny about a year or so ago, and Scott and I were talking before we went on the podcast. We went back to listen. Hold on a second, my phone is ringing. I have my ringer off. We went back to listen to the last one, and you had mentioned the Midwest IPA on the last podcast, talking about had a snappy body to it. Was one of your descriptions. I've been on. This year on the podcast, I've been on what's called the West Coast IPA tour, because I've been trying to like that style of beers more, and I've kind of come to age that I have. And over like the last year or so, I've evolved from the Midwest IPA, where I found it maybe about a year or two ago, going, I don't know if I like it, like some of the hazies, and now I'm on board with it.
Yeah.
You've converted me, sir. You've converted me.
Beautiful.
And then
I was going to say, his description on that from the last episode was perfect, because you kind of took a little bit of the East and a little bit of the West, and you kind of merged that thing, which is kind of what ultimately, so maybe a good launching off point, like to Steve's point.
Yep. Yeah,
well,
which makes, so that tracks, right? That definitely tracks. So, yeah. Oh, you've been totally, if you started at Hazy and then you're doing the West Coast, you're in the Midwest now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, here we are.
Well, and the cool thing was when we came up to Ohio before you saw us, we were in Cincinnati, and we went to a Reds game, and we walk up, we're looking to see what beer they have. And on my radar right away, Michael, was the Midwest Hazy IPA, which you had talked about a couple of months earlier on the podcast. And I'll tell you what, man, you guys knocked that one out of the park. It was really good.
Beautiful. Yeah. I know Hazy had just come out. Like, we had just started making Hazy last time we recorded, so I couldn't remember if we talked about it or not.
You might have
I'm going to
mentioned
drink it on this
coming
podcast one way or the other, though. So,
You're like, hey, look what I got.
Yeah, it's my other beer. So that's great. It was at the Red Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
Great American.
We both got one. Yep. First time we'd ever had it was right there. I remember it. Yep.
Reds have got our old manager. So
Yeah.
In that case, yeah. Is that like what baseball team do people in Nashville root for? MLB team, if any.
Probably the Braves mostly.
Braves, yeah, that makes sense.
It's
yeah,
Braves, it's some Reds, some Cardinals. But we may be getting a baseball team in the near future.
I thought I saw something about expansion. That'd be great.
Yeah.
We're on the short list apparently.
Yeah, checks out. Nashville's a hot town, right?
We love it. We'd love to have it.
Yeah.
You've got some on your website. I saw this. You've got some pub exclusive beers. And I was looking at them and I was salivating. Oh boy. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
You've got an Irish lager. Like, what is that? I don't know if I've had it, and I know that's going to be delicious. You've got a Nitro Edmund Fitzgerald Porter and a New Zealand Pilsner. And I'm like,
New Zealand Pils. Yeah.
God, that stuff sounds delicious.
Yeah.
Surely you've had them, and they're all fantastic.
So I haven't had the New Zealand Pils yet. That's on my list. Since you guys have been up, well, you guys were up right after we did the Brewpub refresh, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, because it was all done.
So for those of you tuning in right now, if you're in Cleveland and you haven't been down to the Brewpub since earlier 2025, we did a fairly significant revamp of the Brewpub food menu. Our current chef, the chef we brought in recently, like the restaurant he worked at before, won Best New Restaurant in Cleveland for 2024. Pretty cool. Kind of got us a little bit closer back to local sourcing of food ingredients and all that stuff for the menu. But also, a part of the refresh of the pub was focused on getting back to more pub exclusive beers, because it's important, obviously, for people to try our new stuff, but people like our new canned stuff, right? The Midwest, the Cold Rushes and all that, but like Oktoberfest, right? Beers like that, big time seasonals for us. But let's be real, people go to the brewery in part because they want to try things they can't get anywhere else, which is what you guys had when you were up in May, right? Do you guys remember what you had when you were up in May?
I know I had
I'm sure it was exclusive.
You had the Imperial Nosferatu, I believe. I think that was on the board. I think I had that for the first time there.
I'm
that
looking at mine. I had a flight. I had the Conway's Irish Stout.
Okay.
I had the Rally Drum Lemon Shandy.
Okay.
The Easy Buckets Blonde. The Return. I love this name. The Return of the Lake Erie Monster Double IPA.
Yeah.
And the Mexican Lager with Lime was what I had on the
Okay.
flight when I was there. So I
Yeah.
went across the board of diversity.
Yeah. So I forget exactly where we were at that time with regards to the pub exclusives, but I know like in recent months it's been like 3, 4, 5 plus beers that we don't can or bottle or anything like that. So yeah, the Irish Lager is good. That's kind of like a harp.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, vaguely inspired by that, as far as I know. It was almost like a baby Dortmunder the way it drank. It's 5%, but it had that bready, like fluffy, fresh baked bread impression. The New Zealand pills I haven't had yet, but the pub brewer Steve Foreman's been using Nectaron hops a lot. It's a really great New Zealand hop. I know it's got that. It's got Motueka and Pacific, whatever it is, the New Zealand Pacific something hop. I can't remember, but so that's next on my list to try. We did install a side pole. Yeah. So, and that's actually very interesting. That came from Pat. I thought it was going to be Foreman. The pub brewer was like, yeah, that was Pat. So like, which is funny. It's funny how old becomes new again, right?
Absolutely.
Side pulls are everywhere. I was like, the checks are like, this is how we pour our beer. Like,
That's
whatever.
exactly right.
It's like,
And be patient when we do, because it's not a fast pour typically.
yeah.
supposed
So
to
we
be.
got the side pull. Foreman did brew a Czech pills specifically. It had to be specifically for the side pull. It's possible he already had. Elliot Ness is on the side pull right now. That's pretty fun. So yeah,
Good
had that
choice.
recently. That was good. Yeah.
Does that change it up at all when you're drinking it?
Like
Or is it just the
it's
body's
supposed
a
to
little
change. Yeah, exactly. I think because of different carbonation levels, like he had a different perception of mouthfeel and all that.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, I want to say like that like Ness can drink a little sweet for me sometimes, but the more toasty notes seem to pop a little bit more for me. I don't know if that was because of the side pull or because I don't know exactly what it was, but yeah, I mean, it's cool one way or the other for sure to see that. And like, I think we're dialing in the foam.
Okay.
Yeah. Because
Like
you gotta
learning
have that foam.
process.
The side pull, you get that foam. But like, it's cool that we have the side pull, right?
Yeah, it is really cool. And what I love about that is they're new beers for you, but they're traditional styles. All three of
Totally.
those really are, which is like, hey,
100%,
we're doing new
right?
stuff, but we could still really please the core group because it's traditional styles.
Yeah, and it's so beautiful that there's been the swing back to lager generally. And brewers, of course, we've been pushing for this for years, but like
Yeah.
to see it catching on even a little bit more is like, okay, I like that.